Hey, this is Rich with BCS Pools, and today we're looking at how to set up OmniLogic from scratch, and so I'll show you how to do that. Alright, this is a new OmniLogic, Hayward OmniLogic setup from scratch, and then just make sure all your breakers are on. Then you're going to take off the dead man panel right here, and So then, obviously this is electrical voltage coming in here in the bottom, and so if you're not familiar with electricity, if you're not able to handle things safely, then you could die. So don't mess with any of this stuff. Don't take this panel off unless you're familiar with what you're doing related to electrical stuff, and so that you won't kill yourself. You'll assume any risk that you do related to electrical stuff. I don't assume any risk for you. This is just a training video related to the programming setup. Alright, first thing to do, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go to service mode. And then you're going to come in here right here. These are basically the relays, your high voltage relays. This is the HVR's high voltage relays. And so with all the breakers on, then you're going to go through and then test. So right here you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, unless you have a separate panel for the 5, 6, 7, 8. This one doesn't, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 relays. And so then now you're going to test them to see what's on those. So just activate that relay, and that one is the cleaner pump. So once you see something activated, then I basically come over here, and then I'm going to write it on here. I'm going to write it on here. So that relay 1 is going to be my cleaner. So we need to figure that out in service mode first, so that I know what relays are what. So I'm going to come down to number 2. I don't hear anything right here, so I can look at relay 2, and I'm just going to look at it as far as the wiring right here, and then that's going to my lights. So that's what I figured. So then relay 2, that's going to be lights. That's going to be like the low voltage lights, the LED lights. Alright, see, that's my spa blower. And then 4 is actually nothing's on 4 right here, so I don't have to activate that. So that's the first thing you do, is that you're going to, from the main screen, you're going to go hit that power button and go into service mode, and then you're going to go to your HVRs, and then you're going to figure out what's on your relays, because you're going to need that as far as setup is concerned. So now I'm going to exit service mode. And I don't know why it's blinking like that. Alright. So now you're back to configuration. That's kind of weird. So configuration wizard. Here we are going to, let's see, is this going to be an antenna? Yeah, okay. I usually do not now because we don't have the antenna here right now, so I just say not now. You can always go back in here and edit it as far as that selection later. Enable script. So now you're starting with the. Now we're starting with the different selections. So I'm just going to do a OmniLogic setup how I usually do it. So you can do certain things differently if you want to, but this is how I set it up whenever these are my preferences that I set up whenever I set up OmniLogic. So I'm going to say no to the color changes for screen alerts. Okay, on this one, automatically use the internet to keep time. No, I don't like to do that. Daylight savings time, yes, you can do that. And then I'm going to set up, we're not in Eastern time, we're in Central Standard Time. And then now you can go over here and actually change it later time. This is just normal setup stuff right here. AM. And then we're going to go to the date. This is December, what's the date? 21st? December 21st, 2021. Yay. Alright, so then we come to units of measure. It's standard. You can do percent or RPM. Okay, so it's easier, I find that it's easier for the customers just to understand percent instead of RPM. Like, what, you know, if they go to 2700 RPM, what is that? Well, the max is 3450, so you always have to kind of think of a percent. And so it's easier, I think, for people to do percent. And so I just usually do percent because it's the percent of the total. That's what it is. So the total is 3450. So if we're at 60% or 70% or whatever, then you're going to get an MSP ID number. I'll probably have to black that out. But anyway, that's always going to be to find the MSP ID number. Then you go to config, and then you're going to go to system info, config and system info, and then you'll see the MSP ID number for this particular system that you're setting up. Bodies of water. This one small as well. And then we're going to have actuators. Yeah. Okay, so if you have just one body of water, then it would just be a pool setup. But then most of the time with actuators, you're going to have a pool and spa. So you set two bodies of water, and then you're going to come in here, and then you're going to set up the pool first. So just go forward, and we're going to go pool. Name of pool. Number of gallons, you don't have to put that in. Filter pump, yes, filter pump, we want a filter pump. So then it depends on what you have. Do you have a single speed, or you have a 2-speed, or a variable speed? This is variable speed TriStar that we have on this system, so it's variable speed here. And then you come in here, and then you should see a variable speed. There should be an address here. Let's say that you have a water feature pump, that's a variable speed, and then you also have a regular pump. Well, then you have to figure out which one related to the address, which one is your actual main pump. So that's what you have to figure out on that. You can look on there. Look on the pump and figure that out. So there's going to be a Hayward unique address here. And then the way that I set it up is that I don't like this 18%. You're never really going to use 18%. I just change it to 25. Again, that's my preference. And then then you have low speed is 25, medium's 50, and then high is 100%. I just like it doing it that way. Filter valve off. Filter pump off for valve changes. I say no on that because the valves change very slowly. You don't have to stop the pump for them to change. And then so I say no on that. Flow monitoring, I do not like it to do flow monitoring and cavitation stuff. And so I say no to that. Now that does not mean if you have a salt system, you're not saying no to the salt cell. You'll have a chance to put in the flow meter later. So I say no to flow monitoring. I say no to priming. Okay, because why? Because it's going to prime for 8 minutes on high every time, and that's not needed. And so I say no to priming. Most of the time, you're going to be really close to your pool anyway. If you have a really long run, then you can certainly do some priming if you wanted to. It just annoys me, so I don't do it. Freeze protect, yes. You're enabling the freeze protect. I usually bring this down to 35. You can bring it down to 33 if you wanted to. I usually bring it down to 30, 35. And then you're going to select, for a variable speed, you're going to select the speed. I usually put it at least 60%. I find that medium, a lot of times, is not going to medium speed. If you have a spall, it's barely coming over the spall. And so I want it a little bit more flow, so 60% is usually fine, is what I recommend. Heaters, I do have a heater on this system, so I'm going to do heater. Heater cool down enabled, no, that's just an extra period of time that will keep it running. But you're going to still have the heater running anyway, so you don't usually do that. Heater extend, no. Okay, so then we're in pool. So So pools, you're not supposed to heat the pool over 90 degrees. And if you actually did it from the heater panel, then it doesn't allow you to go over 90 degrees in the pool setting. So you're in pool, so set the heater to 90 degrees maximum. And then now we're in the heater function, we're going to set that up. It's a gas heater. Yeah, gas, natural or propane is still gas. And then so I don't know why they, didn't do this here, so you're going to have to take that off. And then you're going to type heater in here. Because you're naming the heater. You don't want it gas, you want to name the heater. The relay is always, the heater is always relay low voltage. So you have low voltage ones, and then you have high voltage. So these small, like the relay over here, these are the low voltage relays over here, and it's always LV R1, low voltage relay 1. And the heater, let's see, the heater is not actually hooked up to low voltage relay 1, so they'll need to put communication wire over there, but that's alright, the electrician can do that. So low voltage relay 1, that's what you're going to select. Hit the plus arrow, yes, okay, there we go, we'll go forward. Does it have a valve? No. Minimum operating speed is going to be at least 50%. Okay, so for variable speed pump, 50%, usually the heater will have enough power for it to operate. Don't allow it to try to operate any lower than that. But when I tell customers to go to the spa mode, then I'm going to tell them go to 75, 80%. You're going to have plenty of flow, a lot of turnover in the spa. It helps it heat up faster. Alright, you have a sense and dispense module, almost always no. You don't see those very often. Okay, a saltwater generator. Okay, I'm going to say yes on this one just to show you how to set it up. This one actually does not have a salt cell, so I'm just going to go ahead and show you how to do that. Percentage of output, chlorinator, this doesn't matter right now. You can always change that in the pool area for your setup. We're just going to leave it at 50% right now. Cell, there's your cell. What kind of cell is it? It's, you got the 340 cell. And then low salt warning below 1200. No, I want the low salt warning, standard warning, if it gets below 2700. And these settings for up to 40,000 gallons, yes, that's fine. Where's the cell located? It's always located right here on floor 1. That's the area where it's located. And then where's it located? You have floor 1. How many? Okay, so that was just the cell. So I'll go and edit it later and just delete that section, because we don't actually have a salt cell. All right, now how many cleaners? This is like your pool cleaners, like if you have a Polaris or something like that, or a Haven cleaner. So you're going to go forward. It says type of cleaner. It is a pressure cleaner. If it is a Polaris, like a 280 or something like that. Name the cleaner. See the pressure. Then I just delete that, and then I'm just gonna type in cleaner. Cleaner. Is a dedicated pump for the cleaner? Yes. Type of pump. This one is a single speed. This is going to just be a single speed booster pump. Where is it wired to? Okay, so where do we look at? So it's high voltage relay 1. So we're going to go over here and we're going to select high voltage relay 1. So that's where that information comes in handy, because you already know where the stuff's at. Does the cleaner have a valve? No. There's no valves that need to change for it. Freeze protect enabled, no on the cleaner. Why do I say no on the cleaner? Because I don't want the cleaner running the whole time when it's below 35. Also, when the main pump is running, which we've already enabled the freeze protect on the main pump, when the main pump is running, the cleaner pump gets its feed water, its main water from the filter pump. So while the filter pump is running in freeze protect, it's going to be pushing water through the cleaner pump. So that's why I don't need the cleaner pump running. It's automatically going to be pushing water through the pipes of the cleaner pump, so I don't have to enable it to run. You would enable it if it was like a water feature pump, then you do want it running, you know, because it's not tied to the main pump. The main pump is tied to the cleaner pump, so I'm going to say no here. That's why we don't activate that. All right, we're done with the cleaner. How many water features? I don't have any water features on this particular pool, but let's say if we did have a water feature pump, whether it's variable speed or a single speed, then let's say if you have a water feature pump, you just say 1, and then you go in there and then you have the same kind of selection. Is it a single speed or is it a variable speed? If it's a single speed, you just tell it what relay it's on. If it's a variable speed, then you're going to come up and choose that unique Hayward address for that second pump that you have if you have 2 variable speed pumps.